Okay. So we are here for part 2 of the open house series, and it's been very intimate, those of you who have joined us live, and I also know that many women are listening to the recording, so welcome as well. I know sometimes like the middle of the day can be tricky to get on these live calls, so hopefully the recordings are really, they're showing up for you to get a taste of this program and, of course, Damini. So we didn't totally have a connect about how we were going to be doing the flow of this call. And, I know Sarah was on the call last time. And so this is Teresa, who's here, Damini, who we can't see. Her name's Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
And
hello, ladies. Hi.
Hi. And then, of course, this is Lizzie. And so I think what we'll do is Damini, I felt like I can just hand the whole call over to you because really everyone's here to connect with you. I'm just happy to be here as well. But if you want to do your magic and ground us and take us on a magical ride, I'm totally happy to do that.
I would love to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. And I maybe at some point I can also introduce you because I know some of these women are new, or if you want to introduce yourself.
No, you can introduce me now.
Okay. So I'll introduce Damini now. If you watch the recording, when I introduced her the other day, I got teary and emotional. So this is Damini Celebre, and she's an amazing practitioner of shamanic arts. She's an artist. She's written a book on art and creativity. She is also an extraordinary acupuncturist. And so all of these aspects of, who she is get brought into the way that she teaches and the way she connects with each of us, and of course, what she brings forward specifically to this shamanic practitioner training program. So Damini has decades of experience. And so she's there's so much I love about her, but what I love about her in looking at for a practitioner or a person is, when somebody's been doing this work for so long, there's some point where the ego isn't really as present. There's a humbleness that happens because of everything they've witnessed in their own experience and then working with others. And then, of course, in the shamanic realms, knowing that you're actually not doing any of the work and that spirit and your guides and allies are. So I feel like that's also something, I didn't mention the other day because I was speaking about other things, but Damini is so humble. And so that makes her, in my heart and my mind, a really extraordinary practitioner because it's not about her. It's about each of you, and it's about her being in true alignment with her path and her guides. So you're in the best of hands, and I'm so honored that you're here and going to lead us in an experience today. So just passing the talking stick over to you, our virtual talking stick, and I will mute myself.
Thank you. So in shamanism, actually it's not shamanism, I think it's brain science, but in brain science, they have done studies that say that the brain doesn't distinguish between reality, like things we can touch, and imagination. And I really hold on to that a lot because it really talks about shamanic healing. Because, and the beauty of online programs as well, is because energy is not bound by house or by place. And so this work really transcends, it transcends the need for physicality. I mean, I like having you all come into the program, come to New Mexico, so I get to kind of be in your energy and know your style of healing and know how well you're connecting to your helping spirits, But then after that, we can really expand online, as we're doing right now. In fact, we've been doing the calls in this particular open house to show you that this is exactly how the online portion of the program happens. So that being said, what I like to do is go ahead and open sacred space. Our helping spirits are always around us, and it's more about we're not necessarily calling them in, but welcoming them. So each of you do your own little light a candle, light sound, and just remember that you are moving into sacred space. And I'll give you a few minutes to do that. And then begin to take some nice, long, deep breaths. Really feeling yourself in your body. Shamanism is a body-centered practice. You need your body to be a shaman, or at least in this realm. And a lot of times when we practice shamanism, it's our body that will begin to tell us what is true or right. So this is a good way to really start feeling into your body. Let your breath come into your body. Feel your feet on the ground, or at least a body part on the ground. And what I like to do is read you an invocation that's actually in my book, but it's from a teacher of mine, Betsy Bergstrom. And what I love about it is it encompasses all the beings. So close your eyes and just take this in as I read it. I give thanks to those that I am about to invite. I ask that this room, this home or building, and the grounds become sacred space. I invite the divine to be present. I invite Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God to be present. I invite Great Mystery to be present. I invite the compassionate and loving ancestors to be present, and I give thanks to them because without them, we could not be here. I invite the great teachers and masters to be present, especially those we have connections to and affiliations with. I invite the angels, the great beings of light, especially the archangels, the guardian angels, and the angels of healing. I invite the power animals, the totems, and I give thanks for them for loaning their power, their qualities, and for their relationship. I invite the helping spirits of all realms and give thanks to their healing that I know is going to happen. I invite the elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sacred space, and I ask for a balancing of the elements. I invite the compassionate spirit devas. I invite the earth, the sun, and the moon. I give thanks to the stars and the compassionate star people. I invite the directions and the guardians of the directions. I invite the 4 great winds. I give thanks to the great spirits of the land, and I ask to be in harmony with you and prosper here. I give thanks to the spirits of this place for allowing this work to happen. And as always, I give thanks in advance for the blessings that I know will happen here. Thank you. So I'm going to smudge each of you, and remember that smudging goes beyond time and space, so those of you on the call will still be cleared. And this is a very potent time, this time where we're about to move into a lunar eclipse. And this today in particular is really the day to let go of what you don't need to hold on to. So allow the fairy bells, allow the sound to permeate your whole being, your energetic fields and your body fields, your cells, and let all of that, whatever you don't need to hold on to, whether that's a thought pattern or an illness or a belief or something you can't even name, ask your helping spirits to help you release that right now as we smudge. And I'm going to do it with sound today. So we'll start with Sarah. And Lizzie. And Jill. And Ameya. And whoever is on the 916 area code. And everyone else who is on the call now or listening to this call later, this is for you. And notice how your body feels now, that you're grounded and you're connected with the web of life, connected with all the beings that are there to help you, and you're clear. Let this feeling be stored into your muscle memory, your body, mind, spirit, muscle memory, so that when you need it, your cells will remember. And you can call this feeling back to you. And feel the weight in your hand of the person sitting next to you in this beautiful circle. Feel the connection of our energy and our hearts moving around the circle. And we may call this using our imagination, but in shamanism, this is actually seeing beyond the veil, seeing into the other worlds, into non-ordinary reality, where we are sitting in circle together. And again, use your senses and notice what's on the altar. There's lots of flowers and goodies and crystals. Just notice, allow your heart to open to the circle and to the altar. And breathe in that love that's there. And also see if you have a sense of all the helping spirits, all those beings that we called in, all these loving, benevolent beings that are all around us. Delighted that we have heard the call and we are in and on the shamanic path. And allow your heart to open up to those beings as well. and know that they are always here guiding you. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. Shamans before the internet had this beautiful gift of being in circle, in their body, in the present moment, and also seeing beyond the worlds, seeing the energy and or magic or the other beings that are that are all around us. And it doesn't matter whether we're in person or we're here on the call, we can still have that experience. So even right now, we're in our bodies and we are kind of the bridge. Somebody today on a call was talking about the bridge. Was it you, Sarah? Yeah. You know, shamans are the bridge. We're the bridge between this reality, the one that we bump around in a lot, and non-ordinary reality. So in the shamanic cosmology, there are different worlds. You know, there's the awareness that we're here, but this world here, everything is alive and has spirit. So it's probably you all on this call know that there are power animals and teachers that are around, but everything has alive and has spirit. Clearly my laptop is alive and has spirit when she goes rogue, but everything is alive and has spirit. Crystals, cars, everything. And so there's this really beautiful thing that once you really open your heart up to that understanding, you start to get signs and symbols or signals from spirit. I spoke to somebody this morning who said that they kept seeing the word shamanism pop up all over the place once, and then Ameya's offering showed up. So it was like these omens that, you know, some of us may follow and some of us may not. That is a shamanic state of consciousness. It becomes a shamanic state of consciousness when you use it, when you acknowledge it and use it as a way of maintaining your personal power. So the shamanic path personally is a path of owning your power. And Ameya knows this, but this is something I'm really, really passionate about women taking back their power and looking within for all their strengths, not always looking outside themselves. I mean, we go outside ourselves for guides, but at a certain point, we have to own our own yumminess. And so part of this program is really about owning all your gifts and strengths. And you do that in co-relationship with your helping spirits. When we do healing work, there's a lot of different names. It's funny, I've had some great conversations with people today as we talked about the program, which was really fun, actually. But when we do healing work, you know, people have asked me about power animal retrievals and depossessions and soul retrieval. And they're all names, you know, they're kind of a common name for what has been translated as a particular type of healing. And you will all learn those on one specific level or another, and Ameya spoke to this earlier, but the way that we teach healing, or that I teach healing, is that you work in co-relationship with your helping spirits. And so here's the benefit of that. Our helping spirits are so unbelievably wise, and mostly because they're not in body anymore. You know, they have definitely a much bigger perspective than we do. So if we were to go and say to our helping spirit, I want to do, Sally is here and Sally is asking for a healing, and I think she has, oh, I don't know. She's talking to me about a pain in her lungs, right? And so your mind as a human educated woman goes, oh, lungs, that has a lot to do with breathing and blah, blah, blah. And we already start this kind of narrative. that can almost direct the treatment. So part of what happens when we go to our helping spirits, we say to our helping spirits, hi, I'm here on behalf of this client, Sally. And her issue, you know, what she's talking about is maybe a lung issue. But I am going to ask you to do the healing for her highest good at this point. And if I name soul retrieval or power animal retrieval or all of those things, sometimes we can get in the way and limit the healing. So when we work and we start to build an unbelievable trust with our helping spirits, sometimes the healing that happens on behalf of your client with your helping spirits surpasses the title of power animal retrieval or soul retrieval. And I think that's really important to know. So these words, these languages that we use for shamanic healing is, again, it's a common grouping of particular patterns or what happens to a person. And I'm not dismissing what they're called. I'm just saying part of this program is that we learn to surpass the limitations of the name. And we all do know this. If we, if we're expecting something, we get exactly that. If we open up to something more, sometimes what shows up surpasses our wildest dreams, and so Ameya talked about being humble. I really feel like I am the bridge. I like Sarah's word today. It's like I am the person in between, learning and trusting what my helping spirits do for my client. And it's not me doing the work. And, honestly, that's where I go with this program. For you to learn to build and trust a very deep and profound relationship with your helping spirits that can help impact every aspect of your life, even parts of your life you cannot even fathom because they're not even kind of in your worldview at this point. So that's part of the program, is learning how to build that relationship. And the other part of the program is learning how to translate that language, which is a very particular metaphoric language between you and your helping spirits, right? So you learn to translate that and then give the story back to the patient. And I like calling that the healing story. So that's all part of the process of what we do during the program, and a gazillion other things. I had a friend of mine email me who's interested in the program, and she goes, can you tell me everything we do? And I'm like, I can tell you the kind of overall outline. I said, but then there's like a ton of other things that happen. And that's being called just being in the flow of spirit as well. So don't worry, there is a curriculum, but there's also, I like to leave space for the unexpected. I like to leave space in the program for the thing that I couldn't think about, but spirit thinks is really essential. And I think we did that last year, and there were some really amazing moments. So that's just a little bit about the program. I know I got a wee bit sidetracked. Today, I wanted to answer any questions that are present for any of you. And I also wanted to do another journey with you. This time connecting with a place of power. And we're going to go to the land of your home, because shamans, it's incredibly important where a shaman lives. And why? Because they're building a relationship with the land. And so what I like to do today is invite you to start that relationship with. So I want to make sure that we allow a little time for that, and for the journey, and to kind of cultivate some space for questions afterwards as well. So are there any questions about the program? Anything that you've been thinking about? Ameya, have you gotten any emails about questions that you want to bring up to the call?
There are lots of questions that have come forward, but one thing that actually came forward for me after our call on Tuesday was that I want a presence, because we all know this, but there just felt something important about this for me, is when I was listening to you, because I've gone through the program, when I listened to you on Tuesday, I really understood what you were talking about. Like I really understood possession treatments and soul loss. And so I want to say that sometimes, because this is a different language, or a language that we haven't grown up hearing, it's in our context, it can feel vague and a little bit surreal, and even when you're talking about it now, I just last night had this experience where I was doing a journey on behalf of a client, and I went to them saying, or something happened where I said, oh, is this possession? Something. And my spirit guide that I work with said, yes, but it's not the way you know possession to be.
Right.
And so last night I had this whole schooling about just exactly what you're talking about, which is so perfect. But so I just want to say, like, all of this feels, I don't know what it feels like for some of you, but I know what was alive for me was that there was a deepening of understanding of what you were saying, having gone through the program and learning the practices. And so for the women who are thinking about this, and, I know Sarah and Jill, you were both here the other day, and Ulasita, there's obviously, Sarah, you put in an application. And so there's obviously like what is this? And that's the place, Damini, you said this so beautifully the other day, and I got teary how you said it. And I don't know the exact words, but that it's like a bone memory, that it's not even about all the things that we're going to get, because it's so hard to convey what you will receive through Damini and her guides, and then through your guides, and in that land inside of your own body. It's so hard. It's not like a business program where you can say, like, right, you're going to get this, and you're going to get this, and you're going to do this. And it's so different, and language doesn't fully encapsulate everything that happens. So just really inviting each of you, for anything in your life, but of course we're talking about this program, of just coming into that deep calling and that deep place of what's alive in your heart, because that will never, ever, ever steer you down the quote unquote wrong path. And so, yeah, there's definitely like logistical questions that have come forth, but I just wanted to place that in our space.
Yeah. And I'd like to actually add something to that, because that was really beautifully summarized from what came up on Tuesday. Shamanism is a living practice. So, and I'm going to say this, and it may sound like I'm disrespecting other practices, but I'm not. Why I say it's a living practice, it's a practice that you over time develop with your helping spirits. And this goes for any modality. If you stick with exactly what you learn in the beginning, it's a dead practice. It'll be dead within a year or so. It's like you need to really, own it, own the practice. But really, when we're talking about shamanism in particular, you will go so much deeper, like Ameya's experience, where your helping spirits will teach you things that I could never even comprehend to share with you. And maybe they are not something that I need to learn. So I don't have the experience to even teach it. I mean, I think that's important. Every teacher has their particular way. And, there are some teachers that really teach a formula, and that's great for a beginner because it holds a really beautiful container for you. But to be a practitioner, you need to really embody the work for yourself. And I think that's the other beauty of this 6 months, is that not only do you have a container to hold you for all the healing that you get in New Mexico, but also the container to kind of own, tweak, massage, if you will, these healing practices that you learn, to make them part of your practice as well. So thank you for bringing that up, because this is a really alive practice. And And it's how I teach it as well. So I'm sorry, back to Ameya. You had some more questions. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to open it up first to those of you who are here live, and these can be questions that are just really emotionally rooted, about your feelings about everything and wanting to be in the program. And they can also just be really practical. So that's a really important piece for us to make sure that those of you who are here live get your questions answered. I know some of you are here to really feel Damini and to really feel, her inside of you. And I also know there's questions. Teresa, I think you just unmuted yourself.
Yes, I did. I first of all just wanted to say thank you. I'm definitely feeling, I completely agree that it's more of like a yes on just like a cellular level, like a body level, that, I've kind of been debating this question in my mind more now, of logistics of how I can work this out, or how I can answer the yes that's happening in my body. But my logistical question would be, if the in-person retreat in New Mexico starts on Monday the 8th, I was wondering about like what time would be the meeting time that day, because I will be kind of in transition from another trip late the night before, just wondering about like what time we would be starting to gather potentially on that Monday.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And that's been a question on the calls as well. You can arrive at the retreat space anywhere between, after 2:30, but we gather in circle at 4:00. And that's really, gathering in circle at 4:00 is really just to land, to bring us all together in circle, to just land in so many ways, and to meet each other. And then after that, we're going to gather for a meal. So there won't be any more teachings that evening. It's really about bringing us all together, energetically, physically, welcoming the land of New Mexico, and the beautiful people at Synergia Ranch who are holding space for us as well. So, and it's also, that circle is really about, this, I always think of circles as layers. It's layers of trusting each other to say what's on our hearts. And so that's the opening circle, is an opportunity to start the conversation about who you are and what you love and what's present for you, and sharing it with the circle. So we start at 4, and I suspect we have dinner about 6 or something like that. I'm not sure. And then you'll all just get to sit on the land and be cradled by New Mexico for a while, which is just a lovely place to be. And then most of the time, or the most of the week, we are meeting from like 9:30 to 12:30 and 2:30 to 5:30. And we might have an evening class, but again, I'm waiting for Spirit to fill me in on that detail. And then we gather on Sunday morning for breakfast, and then you can go on your way if that's more traveling, or to Santa Fe, or whatever else you need to do. That time is there. And I know that Ameya has also on the website that if you need to fly out really early Sunday morning, that's fine as well. So that's kind of the bones of the timeline right now. Does that help?
Thank you. Yes, that is so helpful information. And it's really great news that it's not, too early Monday. That, really helps my brain with logistics of trying to piece this puzzle together. That, I would love to be there. So thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, most people fly into Albuquerque, and most flights from the East Coast don't get in till 11. I do it a lot. So,
exactly.
And so you just need time. And then what I also have been saying to people and emailing them after we chat is that what we'll also do is once we have the community of women that are going to be a part of the program, we'll go ahead and share everybody's email and let you all figure out a car share. So, because you don't all need a car, you know, it's like the ranch is about 45 minutes to an hour from Albuquerque Airport. So, you know, if any of you want to share, that's a really beautiful way to do it as well. Ameya?
Yeah, I just want to add that actually, and I don't know the prices, I think it depends where everyone's flying in, but the Santa Fe airport is only 15 minutes from the retreat center.
Oh.
And when you register, we send you a really kind of lengthy email with all those details, and we give you a number for an Uber as well. So, because once you're at the retreat with Damini, you're not going anywhere in a car, right? So flying into Santa Fe is super quick and easy, and you can take an Uber. And if you get just like a cheaper flight and you're like, I have to fly into Albuquerque, it's so much less expensive. I think it's a little bit more than an hour to the ranch.
Right. And if I didn't know that detail. So
yeah.
The other thing you can do, I mean, Albuquerque can be much cheaper than Santa Fe, depending on where in the country you're coming from. But you can also take a shuttle to Albuquerque or to Santa Fe, which is probably like $20 or $22 or something like that, and then get an Uber. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't realize it was so close. Wow. Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just thought of something logistical. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Are we rooming with other people, like in groups, or?
Ameya, do you want to answer that?
I was just going to say, Damini, do you want to answer that? I'm pretty sure the rooms are shared. I don't recall seeing a place where there's a single. I'm pretty sure the rooms are shared. I definitely can check on that because I don't know if we know that. I can email them.
I don't think we asked about it, but
I think it's like 2 or 3 to a room is my sense. 2?
I think so, yeah.
2 to a room. Well, we can check on that for sure. It's not like rooms that are like 7 or 8 people. And maybe there's one single. I'm not sure, but we can check on that. It's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question, Sarah.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Jill or Lizzie, do you have a question?
I don't actually have a question, but I just wanted to speak up and say that and say hello. And not be silent and invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's beautiful to see your face, Lizzie. You're just glowing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for, actually, I do have a question. Just had to start talking. Can you talk a little bit about, I think I read that core shamanism is your background. So maybe just a little bit about that as a system.
That's a great question. So I studied originally with Michael Harner, who was an anthropologist, who actually was the first, I'm going to say this and I'm not absolutely sure of my facts, but I believe this is true, that he was the first Westerner to kind of gather up all the shamanic practices all around the country and look at all the threads that were common in all of them. Because shamanism is present in every culture. They just call it different things. And so I studied with Michael Harner in the foundation for a long time. And then a lot with Sandra Ingerman. I've done some studying with some indigenous people, but again, I'm not an indigenous person, so it never jived with me. And yeah, so in core shamanism, so some of you may know a little bit about shamanism or have met some shamans, and some shamans journey. And I know we use this word all the time, and I realize some people may not even know what a journey is, right? And it's just and it's a funny expression because you're really not going anywhere. But some shamans use a system or a ritual, as I like to call it, of stating your intention, of powering up, most importantly, stating your intention, going somewhere else in non-ordinary reality to talk to beings, getting information, which we call divination, and then or asking for a healing, which we call healings, which regardless of all the little words. And then we come back into the body. So you're actually energetically or in subtle energy or not so subtle energy, you're actually bringing the healing from beyond back into this reality. So some shamans use drums. Some people use rattles. A core practice is that to use a percussive beat, and it's at a particular pace that puts you into, God, I'm so dyslexic sometimes. It puts you into that dream state. What is that? Alpha, theta, beta, somewhere in there. Your non-waking state. And so the drum or the rattle, or I've heard people do it with didgeridoos, those kind of things help you transcend your mind. It helps put the mind over here somewhere, honestly. And so that practice is pretty common with all cultures. People do it differently. You know, some people use plant medicine, ayahuasca, peyote, those kind of things. And those puppies, man, you don't have control with those beings. You know, they just have their agenda, and they just listen to your intention, and they take you somewhere. Powerful, powerful medicine. We do not do that in this program. You know, it's not my thing. I'm a bit of a control freak, I guess. I can't give it all up to a plant, but sidebar. But the shamanic journey, you know, it's like you learn it trains your body, mind, spirit to go from here and know that you're going to go into a place where you're going to talk to your helping spirits. And so that's the biggest thing that I think core shamanism teaches you, is the very constant use of the shamanic journey, you know. And so then, you know, we've all learned power animal retrievals. We've all learned how to deal with, in the foundation, they have it all broken up into sections. So if you do their whole program, you would eventually learn power animal retrievals, soul retrievals, all kinds of extractions, all these types of things that are part of the healing cosmology of shamanism, you know. And so, and you know, the Peruvian shaman that I studied with, he did it, but he did it by chewing tobacco and spitting it on people. That was the other thing that my clients, there's no way they're going to let me spit things on them. But you know, again, if that was right for me, if it was a bone memory for me, if that was something that really worked for me, no problem. I would do it. So, you know, again, you're going to make it your own, and I'm not dismissing any of the other practices, but this is kind of like, I've heard some people call it the very clean whistle type of shamanism. Mm-hmm. Some people call it household shamanism, and I disagree with that, because household shamanism is, I think, a derogatory term. It's assuming that we're not going as deep. And I disagree. I think we can go as deep as we need to, you know. And so I want to just be clear that this, what you're learning the foundation is from core shamanism, but then how you go from here is totally between you and your helping spirits. And if you remain limitless, you will be limitless in your practice as well. You know.
And I wasn't on Tuesday's call. I haven't listened to it yet, but do we learn practices like soul retrieval and in this program?
You will learn healing with spiritual light. You will learn power animal retrieval. You will learn how to do extractions, depossessions, and work with intrusions or blockages. You will learn how to bring soul essence back, but you will not learn soul retrieval. And that is because I'm one of Sandra Ingerman's teachers, and her request was that for her, a soul retrieval is a long process. And so the training has to be a 5-day process. And I want to honor that because she's my teacher. But your helping spirits, if a soul essence has to come back, your helping spirits will bring that back, so, and then you're going to learn, oh my goodness, so many things, divination, how to talk to the land, how to talk to the animals. There's a lot of things that show up, Lizzie, that in this part of my mind, I can't get them all, but
I totally understand. And you answered my question.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Did that spark any questions for anybody else? Okay. It's funny, I do this work. Actually, I don't do this work. I believe that being a shaman or a shamanic practitioner is a way of living. So it's funny when I say, I believe I do this work. I mean, it's just the way that it's just your worldview is much wider. It's that same thing. You just take the veils out. And people may think you're a bit crazy because I just talk to everything all the time. But, where was it going with this? I think what I'll say is, as a practitioner and as a teacher, I'm always expanding my understanding of what this label is of shamanic practitioner. And I'm a Capricorn, so I'm all into foundation, but I also use that as the thing that tethers me in my teachings or the practice. And then I'm also whatever it is about me that lives out in the vapors at the same time. So it's like to understand the limitlessness of the practice is something that is a thread that gets held throughout the program as well. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway. So we talked a lot, and if there's more questions that come up, please just go ahead and type them up in the chat, and we can address them that way. But what I like to do is just chat a little bit more. We talk about the journey a lot, and I realized in last on Tuesday we did this plant journey, and we talked about allies a little bit, but I didn't quite explain the journey, and I just want to touch on this a little bit more. So in shamanism, there is this cosmology, and there's this cosmology that there's 3 realms. So there's the realm that we live in, and then there's the realm called the middle world, which is, I think, what old Disney movies show, where all of a sudden, like, they open their eyes and everything is alive and dancing and talking to them, whether they're benevolent or they're, problem makers, it doesn't matter. But there's just this other world that is right beyond this veil of, I don't know what we call what we live in sometimes, but there's this whole veil. So that's the middle world. And on Tuesday, I invited you just to step out your front door in non-ordinary reality into the middle world and meet a plant ally. And so the middle world is where you meet the fairy folk and the tree folk and the rock folk and all these beings that that are alive all around us. And that includes the wind and the water and the fire and the elements. Like, they're all part of the middle world. And so you could see that the middle world is this bridge place where you can kind of be bumping around in your day-to-day humanity, but you can still be in engagement with the middle world, or you can actually do a journey, and however that is for you at this moment, where you kind of wake up and you see everything like a Disney movie. So that's the middle world. And in the middle world, there is there's the middle world. And then there's two other realms called the upper world and the lower world. And that's a pretty common delineation of space as well. And you see that in other religious practices. They call them other places. But for us, the lower world is a place where you go down and get information. And for us, there's the upper world where you go up and get information. And they actually do commingle. So my helping spirits have seen it where there are two distinct places. One place isn't better than the other. They're just different realms that have been, I guess, anthropologically listened, or every shamanic culture, every culture has this delineation of upper and lower. I think religion is actually the one that made them bad or good, lower world, bad, upper world, good. But that's not the case in shamanism. So it's all interchangeable. They're just a different place to go information. Sometimes you have to go to the library, and sometimes you have to go to Google. It's just the same place, right? But what happens is in the upper and lower world, you may have particular teachers or helping spirits or animals that live in these particular places. Sometimes they commingle. Mine are everywhere. But sometimes I hear people that there's only, like one particular being lives in this house. It's no different than some of your friends. Some of your friends are migratory and some of your friends live in one house. And so if you want to go talk to your friend, you have to go to the house. If you want to talk to the migratory person, well, that can be a little bit trickier, but that's part of the realms of the upper and lower world. So in this cosmology of the middle world, where everything is right here, just beyond the veils, or you can go down. Generally, there's animals there, but not always. Or you can go up, and generally that's where your teachers are, but not always. So, and sometimes they're all right here in the middle world. So just to make it even more kind of interesting and complicated, a lot of shamanic practitioners now that I'm in communication with think that why go anywhere? All of this is in our heart, right? Our teachers, and I said this on Tuesday, I believe that our power animals and our teachers and our allies are all aspects of who we are, right? They're just showing us a particular strength of who we are. And because it's easier for us humans to dialogue with them, thinking that they're outside of us, we do this, don't we? It's like, oh my God, you're a marigold and you have so much to offer. And the marigold starts talking to you about love and light and blah, 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 blah. Really, it's about the love and light inside you as well. So I am really going down the garden path. I do this sometimes, but I do come back, But where am I? So some practitioners think, do the work inside your heart, right? You'll still meet your power animals and your teachers, but it's an embodied practice, so you're here. I don't think it really matters what that worldview is, as long as you start building a relationship. So that being said, in this program, I really do talk about the cosmologies, because I think it helps compartmentalize the information. It helps give you a landing place, so you know that if you have an animal that's a crow and they're always here, it gives you a place to start the muscle memory. But again, I don't limit you all to having to go up or down either. My goal when you learn the shamanic journey is that you meet your helping spirits, and the cosmology will work around. That being said, what I wanted to do today is have you again do a middle world journey where you're meeting the spirits of your land. So the cosmology we'll talk more about in the program. And so again, I'm going to use a drum today, and the ritual of a journey is this. You set an intention. I believe intention takes us 98% of the way, no matter what medicine we practice, period. I believe that with everything that we do. If we're clear with our intention, and those of you who practice plant spirit medicine, if you kind of go, I'm not kind of sure, maybe kind of I want to add this, and it kind of falls short, versus, oh yes, this is the plant that you need. Boom. And you know, that's intention. That is energy behind the thought, right? So the journey starts with an intention, and our intention today will be to go to meet the spirit of the land that you live on, and ask that spirit of the land how you could build a stronger relationship with this being so that it becomes a grounding power place for you. You're going to meet your helping spirit. You're going to ask this helping spirit of the land that you live on, you know, what is it? You know, how can you build a relationship with the spirit of the land? You may they may tell you some things that they offer for you. They may tell you some things that they bring into your life. And then I always like to say, let's do an exchange. What can I do every day to help build this relationship? So when we're talking about meeting the spirit of a place, it could look like a human-ish type of person. But don't be attached to just seeing things. You know, some people see journeys, some people hear journeys, some people have a felt sense. Some people use all their senses. But this is not a meditative practice, so you have to actively keep going, hello, I want to meet the spirit of the land I live on. Hello, hello. Like I obviously that's what I do when I go into journeys. I must yodel all the time or something. But, you know, I just keep asking, you know, and as soon as you ask that question, how can I build a better relationship with you? So one is you're actually meeting them, which is amazing because that will start a really interesting synergetic practice for you. But then to ask, how can I keep cultivating a stronger relationship will actually build the power. And what is the power of a place? What does power of the land do for you, right? So I talked earlier about shamans some shamans do not leave their land because that land is so potent for them. They are in an exchange of energy with that land all the time. And, you know, you may know people who are always looking for home. And it's not about home. It's like they're trying to find their power spot, you know, not necessarily a location. So, you know, I think home or land is the place that holds you. It's the place that grounds you. It's the place that gives you oomph when you need it. It's a place that is like Pachamama right here for you. And Pachamama is an Amazonian expression for Mama Earth, but not just the planet, but everything that is here in this beautiful earth. So the journey is the intention. You're going to imagine yourself with your eyes closed, and when I start drumming, just to walk outside, out your front door. And when you walk outside and you're chanting, I want to meet the spirit of my land. I want to meet the spirit of my land. I want to meet the spirit of my land. Like your little mantra. You're going to go out, and as you walk out the door, it will look different. It may look a little the same, but it may look very different. And just take that in. I mean, it's like just such a magical experience to see the aliveness of everything around you. And then you may notice something catches your attention. There may be some being standing right in front of you. It may be an ant going, hello, hello, whoever it is. Say, hi, welcome. My name is, thank you for meeting me. And you can ask, are you the spirit of the land that I live on? And when you ask that question, it's like this deep knowing passes through both of you. And I say at that moment, really pay attention to everything that happens. Because I believe that spirit talks to us in a metaphorical language. So not just words, because words are so limiting. right? So whatever that spirit says or does, or whatever, however your environment changes, right? Notice all those things, because that's giving you insight on how the land supports you, right? And, you know, you can have this conversation, every day with your land, you know, and they will start telling you how it supports you and how you can build that connection, right? So you're going to talk to the spirit, and then you're going to hear the drum beat change, and I'll let you know what that sounds like in a minute. And when the drum beat changes, so first it's kind of fast, and then it's going to change. And that's the signal for you to say, thank you so much. I'll be back, but I really appreciate you talking to me. I'm a Miss Manners girl. I like to say hello and I like to say goodbye. Part of why I like to do that, it's a ritual, and it's a, you know, as your body, mind, and spirit gets used to these certain steps, it makes it much clearer in a journey. Like, you know, people will often say, I don't know if I'm making this up. You know, once you really follow the ritual, what that does is it helps you know you are not making this up, because your body is going through a process, your mind and your spirit as well. So when the callback comes, say thank you and just retrace your steps. And as the callback, it'll get a little fast again, and then the slow drum beat will come back. I'll talk you through it, but you get the message. So intention. Your intention is to meet the spirit of the land that you live on. You're going to walk out your door. You're going to walk into a slightly different place energetically, maybe visually. You're going to ask to meet the spirit of your place. When you meet that spirit, hi, thank you. My name is, right? And how can I build a relationship with you? How can I cultivate a deeper relationship with you? And have a conversation. If you don't understand things, say, I don't understand what you're talking about. Make it clearer. Remember, it's an engaging process. You're not just sitting and allowing things to drop through you. Part of being a shaman is to learn to start dialoguing with your helping spirits. You'll do this conversation until we have a call back. Okay? Any questions? Let me let you know what the drum is going to sound like. So when you're journeying, it'll be fast. The callback will sound like this. Okay. So because shamans see in the dark, and because we have monkey mind, go ahead and put a blindfold on, or put your arm over your eyes, something that keeps your eyes covered. When your eyes are open, your mind is active. When your eyes are shut, your unconscious is active. Okay. All right. Happy trails, everybody. So you're going to meet the power, you're going to meet the spirit of your land, this place that gives you power. So go ahead and thank your helping spirit. Tell them you can always come back to this being, that you're going to turn around and come back, retrace your steps. Begin to feel your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a nice deep breath in. And open your eyes. So if you like, you can go ahead and jot a couple notes down just so you can remember the experience. I'll give you about a minute to do that. So know that this was the very mini version of doing a shamanic journey, but I wanted to give you an experience. So you can start building a relationship with this place that you call home, with this place that gives you, that shares power with you. And you know, that is the first step of being a shamaness, shamanista, a shaman, a shamanic practitioner. And yes, there are male and female shamans traditionally as well. But regardless of where you are in your inquiry into being a shamanic practitioner, I mean, obviously we would love it if you join us, because, you know, I think this work is amazing, and it really can work with every aspect of your life. You can have a helping spirit for your business. You can have a helping spirit for your relationship. My goodness. You can build relationships with the tools that you use in your healing practice that you have right now. So I'm using flower essences because that's what Ameya teaches as well. But, you know, to actually meet in spirit form the flower essences that you use. I mean, that's like a game changer in your practice, right? And I'm sure you do that in your practice. But, you know, so I can't, there are so many different ways to use shamanism, even to how to get out of traffic, believe it or not. But, and the bigger questions, it's like, you know, shamans are visionaries, and your helping spirits are not limited to body. And so when you're really visioning your life, your helping spirits can help you in limitless ways. And there's so many different ways to use this work. It's just miraculous, really. So does anybody have any questions about what came up during the journey, or anything that is coming up now since we've been chatting? And if so, go ahead and unmute yourself. Sarah, did you want to say anything? You keep looking like you do.
I can share some. I have my windows open here in my art studio. Like, there's a window on my left and on my right. And maybe it was like the drumming, but I just, I feel like my little journey in my yard space there was lots of twirling. I mean, I'm not wearing a dress, but like maybe it was the rhythm, but I felt like it I didn't, intend to, but it's like I was twirling all around the land and like my front yard and the different like spots around my home.
So were you creating little vortexes in your land?
Maybe so.
I mean, one thing that we do in this program is we teach not to interpret other people's journeys, but I will ask questions into how to make the information you got maybe a little bit richer. So, were you talking on Tuesday about not really feeling connected to where you live?
Yes.
Huh.
And so this is all a new concept for me.
Uh-huh.
And when you were talking about it earlier on this call today, I started to think about how everywhere I've lived, even as a child, I lived in the same house the first 18 years of my life. And I still have this like massive connection to like everywhere I've lived. It's in my dreams. I drive by old houses. I'm almost at the point of knocking on the door. I'm one of those people. I haven't, but like I've thought about it a million times. And I'm wondering if that's part of it is like the connection to the land, and I just think it's so fascinating.
So you were twirling in different parts of your land. So spirit was taking you all around your land, right? Mm. And twirling clockwise or counterclockwise? Did you
I feel like it was clockwise.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm not going to interpret. I'm just thinking. So did the environment change? Did the air temperature change? Did the colors change? Do you feel like you yielded to the earth a little bit more?
I'm not sure. I feel like I was moving very fast.
Uh-huh.
There was nothing, and again, maybe it was partly the drumming, I know I hugged someone, or someone hugged me that was a lot taller than me.
Beautiful.
We have a fire pit. And so it was by they were much, much larger. But I was viewing it from outside my body.
Right. I mean, that's sometimes what it feels like. Yeah. Sometimes it's almost like you're watching from the outside, and sometimes you're viscerally experiencing. Mm-hmm. And that just goes back and forth. That's great. Yeah. You could do this all the time. I'm sure you can even there's an app. There's a shamanic journey app.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't, I like the live drum, so I don't fall asleep, but you could, I bet you could even find a recording of a shamanic journey. So you could do this. You can do this journey. Better yet, put the drumming on a device that you can go outside and sit outside. Shamans lived outside up until, the past couple hundred years. Everybody lived outside really, for the most part. So we're a much more inside culture now. So just going outside and just, don't even need the drum. Don't even need the app. You can go outside, breathe into your heart, let your heart open and say, hello, spirit of the land I live on. And just watch what happens. I forgot to tell you yesterday, Tuesday after the call, I was all lit up, literally. And I went to take my dog for a walk afterwards. And there was a mama and two fawn who waited for us. I sing to the deer all the time. That's part of how I try to cultivate a relationship here. But I've never seen the babies. And I think I was just in the right space for the babies. And that was a really good sign for me for the program, because it was like, they were here. She showed me her babies. It was very beautiful. But so that's how the land can speak to you. You ask a question. We talked about omens, but there's also this constant interaction. I like to think about when you're driving and a bird goes across your window, right? It's like, what was I just thinking of? Because that's spirit answering something, So it's just like, once you realize everything's just in relationship with you, it's amazing. But so go out to your land, allow your heart to soften, feel your feet on the ground, and just say, I love you. Thank you for loving and supporting me. How can we make this deeper, richer? And just see what comes. I mean, even in that state, if you're open enough, you'll get a message. I mean, we all have these experiences where we're in this really sweet place and we get a message of something that was in our heart. So the shamanic journey is a ritual, so it happens more regularly. So you can get the information when you need it instead of just, opening up the radar and seeing what comes in. So I hope that those of you who are on this call, I hope this woke up this bone memory in you, because this is a powerful practice for living, period. It's a powerful practice to really know your strengths and own your strengths. So, and those of you who are listening at some other time, know that. Feel your bones, feel what's in your heart, listen to your heart, see if this is the right medicine for you. Because if so, it seems like we're gathering a really beautiful group of women to do this, right? Ameya, did you want to say anything else?
I don't really have anything else to say. That was really beautiful, and I think I'll be journeying to my land more. And just presencing, as we wrap up, a couple of questions, just an answering of, this program is offered once a year, and it really happens when there's just time and space for Damini and her schedule and our school and our schedule. So I know there's been a question of like, will it be offered again? And of course we want to say yes, and everything's in the mystery as well. So the group is limited, it's small, it's intimate, it's so powerful to have a close knit group of women from all over the country who are journeying together. And some women are totally brand new to this path. And some women have done some journeying work or even shamanic courses. And it doesn't matter where you are. You're going to be learning extraordinary practices for yourself and for others. And then the last thing is, because I know this is always a question about finances, is we have payment plans. So we have up to an 8-month payment plan. So we try to make it as possible for you as we can on our end. And of course, if there's any other thing that you might need from us, just ask. The ask is always important to us. And if we can make it happen, we absolutely will. So we probably by the end of the week will have 4 to 5 spaces left for this program. And so if you are interested, please make sure. The worst feeling is when you want to do something and you don't take action, and then there's an opportunity that's missed. That's, we experience so many missed moments in our life. So if you're feeling the call, fill out the application, get on the phone with Damini. You'll talk everything out, and some of you have questions and some of you just know like, yes, I'm in. And so wherever you are is perfect. And if it isn't the right time, we also trust in divine timing of it all. And there's no pressure. There's no force. This is really an invitation from the deepest place of my heart. And I know for Damini as well. And if you want to be part of this, just please let us know and fill out your application. Or if you've already had a call with either me or Damini, just let us know that you wish to enroll, because there are less and less spaces available and our registration closes on Tuesday. So I think that's I like to wrap things up with like the practical and the logistical piece, my Virgo moon and Virgo rising, and just really making sure we're here. Did something just click and make sense for you? That's funny. So yeah, just there's the practicality of this choice, and then there's the bone spirit. So thank you all so much for being here, and thank you, Damini, for everything and for walking us onto this soul path. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So let's just feel those hands in our hands. Look around the circle. Look at the bright light in all the women's eyes. Feel how your bones are just vibrating and your heart is expanded. And with that open heart, thank the spirits of the land that you live on for coming to meet you. Thank all the benevolent and helping spirits around us who have supported us for this work in this moment. Thank each and every one of you for listening to your heart and following your intuition and your power to be here right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mwah. Bye.